All right, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Gail Morton, and I'd like to welcome you to our presentation, The Sunny Side of Cloud Learning. I have my colleagues here today, Griggs, Kim Eccles, and there's Annie. She had to do another presentation today, but she helped us put this one together. Then we have Olson, and then myself. So let's get started. All right, the online environment that was newly thrust upon us due to COVID-19 was unavoidable. In response, reference librarians applied for and received Institutional Review Board approval for the fall semester 2020 to perform a study. Our goal was to test whether student engagement increased when two active learning strategies, brainstorming and discussion, were implemented. So today we're going to have Kim Eccles. She's a director of the Atlanta Mercer University campus site. She's going to speak to you on engagement. And then Olson, who is head of research services and reference, is going to speak to you about the online learning environment. And Griggs, one of our research librarians, is going to talk to you about active learning and the results. Kim?
Yes, thanks, Gail. Engagement should always lead to empower students to learn, grow, and think. John Dewey's quote, "We don't learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience." Engagement strategies include things like thought-provoking questions, thought-provoking stories, group activities. Flipped classroom as another idea where students get the information and then come back with their questions and ideas or solutions. I always like to start classes with a question that leads to a story. And an example of that is when I'm teaching MBA students who are tasked with creating a company. I'll start with the question of who owns Tiffany and Company. The answer has varied over the years, but when it was Avon and this Campbell Soup Company, I always get this puzzled look, and then I could then lead into the story of how that had evolved, and then lead to explaining parent versus subsidiary companies as a lesson. Engage them in real and vicarious experiences. That's another strategy. Once you ask a question to the students, listen intently. Have them offer solutions. Have them reflect on their experiences to connect ideas to their experiences. Another John Dewey quote that I like is, "Memory is the residue of thought." Next, we'll have Olson.
All right, thank you, Kim. So as we all know, COVID-19 changed our approach to library instruction and online learning. And the challenge was to find ways to engage students without reverting to the sage on the stage method of library instruction. Implementing active learning techniques in the online learning environment ensured that student engagement. So we used Zoom, which provided an ensemble of tools already at our fingertips and freely available to us. And this ensemble, the video chat, screen share, polls, and more, would assist in engaging students in active learning and interacting with each other. We ended up using a tag team approach to online library instruction. So the main librarian, who was the subject specialist, led the instruction enabled a second librarian to use chat for engaging students, reinforcing key points, and providing topics for discussion. And using the tag team approach in the online environment merged expertise with specific roles. The two librarians complemented each other and proved to be a vital piece in the online active learning process. Co-teaching in this fashion offered students a variety of ways to interact with each other and with the librarians. The online environment utilized three resources with Zoom, chat, and each other. And through the collaboration and coordination of the available tools and expertise of the librarian, student engagement was enhanced during online library instruction. And now Adam Griggs will speak to you next on the study and the results.
Hi, thanks, Lee. So we wanted to test student engagement and learning, and so we settled on having an online survey where we compare sessions that focused on the active learning techniques and then sessions without. And all the sessions had this tag team approach that Lee talked about. So our online survey, we asked them about their previous library instruction. We asked them all the different ways that they engaged with the presentation. And then we also presented them with a situation in a research environment where they would have to determine which strategies they would use. And then we also asked 2 factual questions about searching the database. So we actually only were able to survey 7 classes total with 62 responses. So that was 34 students with the active learning and 28 without. Now, this isn't all the classes we taught by far, but it was all the ones due to scheduling, and actually there were quite a few more in-person classes than we were expecting in the fall as well. So these are the results. So we have the without active learning on this left side and with active learning on the right side. So we have about 75% of students without active learning only engage with the presentation up to 3 formats. However, with active learning, we saw about 65% engaged with the presentation in 4 to 6 different ways. When it comes to search strategies, the numbers were a bit more mixed. There are definitely more search strategies in the 4 and 5 range with active learning than the other one. And then when we come to the factual questions, so we actually asked 2 factual questions. And this is something I think that if we were doing again, we'd go back and test a little more the questions for validity, because one of them everybody got right. So we kind of threw that out. I had to throw that question out because it was apparently too easy. But we see about double the amount of students with active learning got those question correct. And I have tested some of these for statistical significance, and right now the numbers are just so low and we don't have enough data to kind of judge that fully. So I'm going to turn the time back over to Gail Morton.
Okay, so why does this matter and what can you do? According to a United Nations policy brief from August 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic has created the largest disruption of education systems in history, affecting nearly 1.6 billion learners in more than 190 countries in all the continents. So, like most educational facilities, Mercer University also went into quarantine. The library was ready for it, and for the most part equipped for it. Okay, we set up a shared reference Zoom room and arranged for voicemails to be transferred to email. Faculty will email describing what we were doing in response to COVID-19, reassuring them that library services would continue virtually. We learned quickly that our Zoom instruction sessions did not radiate with the same vigor and energy as in-person class, and engagement was almost non-existent. After this experience, we learned to work within our new environment and came up with a way to improve the quality of our online instruction. Okay. I'd like to thank our Mercer research librarians who participated in this study. We couldn't have done this without them, and we wish they could have been here today. That was Florence Tang, Stephanie Miranda, and Beth Perry. Thank you for your time today.
Okay, do we have any questions for the group? Feel free to chat or ask. And I'll leave this before we go to the next one. We'll take just a minute to see if any chats come through. Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to our next presentation, which is VIP reference at Kennesaw State University from Judy Reardon.